Hello my loves and welcome back to another perfume video. I am very excited to get into this one. I have been meaning to record it for a long time, but have gotten very busy, which means I have not had a chance to record, but that also means that I have had a package sitting here waiting for me to open it for a while so that I could give a fresh, brand new, untainted review of some new perfumes with you guys. So the set I have with me today is the expanded discovery set from Fulton Roark. Probably should have checked how to pronounce the brand name before I started this video, but I'm assuming it's phonetic, so we'll go with that. This one has 15 fragrances in it. It's 15 different scents in these little pouches. So we are going to go through and spritz all of them. I'll give you my little review on some of these scents, see what we think, have a little chat about it. Should be pretty straightforward. Mostly soft-spoken speaking. I will be yapping a lot about them, I'm sure. Some incidental mouth sounds. You might hear a little bit of clicking and scrolling from my mouse as I check scent notes. Some of the spritzing from the little perfume bottles, some paper sounds from the little tester strips I'm using, and probably a little bit of pen sounds. We'll see if the microphone picks those up as I write down the scent names as we go along. So if this sounds like your cup of tea, get cozy and enjoy. If not, hopefully I'll catch you in another video. Okay, so I'm just gonna go left to right. Oh, we're also going to get some paper sounds in here. I'll try to be as gentle with these as I can, but I'll see if I have to edit out any of these sounds. So, the perfumes come in these little black paper envelopes, and each one, thankfully they're not sealed shut, each one has 5 perfumes inside. I really like that they're colorful. I feel like a lot of places just go for plain bottles. I think it's very cute that they are in different colors, both just as a sweet thing and also in terms of helping to distinguish them from each other. Now, ordering this set, there are a couple of scents that I know I'm very excited for, and a couple that I think are, on paper, not what I would expect to be my usual kind of scent. But the expanded set ended up being the best way to get the majority of the scents I was excited to smell. So there will be some that I think will be a little hit or miss for me, but some that I think that I will like a lot. I am going to, as usual, try to avoid looking at the scent notes for now. Obviously, I looked at them when I was purchasing, but I have the worst memory of all time, so I probably won't remember much. So I'm going to try to go in as blind as possible. Ooh, I'm just seeing they have some scent notes written on the bottles. I'm going to try to avoid seeing those as much as possible. Give the review for what I feel like it smells like before I actually read the notes, and then we'll discuss together. So this first one I just pulled out, a little pink cap, is called Palmetto. So let me jot that down. Okay, Palmetto. Have that written down so that as I collect all my little test strips, I don't lose track of them. And I know some people use fancy schmancy special perfume paper, which probably works better. I'm using scrap paper, which is actually the receipt from my last perfume order. Because waste not, want not, baby. Okay, let's see if she's ready to spritz. That only took 1 pump, so it should be good. Let's air this out a tiny bit. Oh, whew. Don't like what's happening immediately. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, no, immediately, not my favorite. It is, okay, it's better after the first initial impact. The first hit in the air was very, musky men's cologne, which is fine if you like that. Not my kind of vibe. It was giving, oh my god, you know what it smelled like? It smelled just like these the old cologne that my great uncle used to wear, which like I always thought of as like more expensive grown-up Axe body spray. It's like that kind of impact, but like slightly classed up, but it is better after it settles a little. It's still not my favorite, but I'm getting a much more nuanced, woody kind of smell. Like a little cedar kind of, piney kind of tree in there. Definitely dominantly woody. A little bit of freshness in there, but primarily woody. Pretty much what you would expect from something called palmetto. Definitely not a fragrance I would reach for, but I think it is. Could be nice, especially as a more masculine scent. This one, the notes listed here, there are only a couple listed on the bottle, so let me go into the scent notes on the website and find palmetto. Okay, this one, their description is bright and ebullient, which I would not agree with. Maybe it settles differently on the skin, but it has like a little bit more brightness than a standard wood scent, but is still dominantly very rich and woody and deep. But they describe it as top notes of pink pepper and grapefruit, which I love grapefruit, and I'm always excited for a grapefruit scent. I'm getting like no grapefruit out of this. Like, if anything, the tiniest hint of citrus, but in a way that smells more like a bathroom cleaner than like a fresh fruit. Then it's supposed to be mid-notes of magnolia flower and neroli, which are like, I guess, the brightness and the sweetness I'm getting, but it's not very apparent. And then base notes of cedar wood and incense. So the cedar definitely hits, and this explains some of the issues that I was having with this scent, because I hate incense. I hate incense. Wish I didn't. Love the vibes of incense, love the idea of incense, like the cozy, witchy, kind of like, ooh, smoky situation. Hate the smell of it so much. So that explains why palmetto is not a scent for me, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who would really like this one. So I'm going to set that aside and go in for another one. I'm going to try to go a little bit faster than my previous perfume video because I was here for a long time for that one. I have some other stuff I want to do tonight. We might actually end up recording this in 2 sessions, we'll see. Okay, next we have Narada with a nice little kind of slate blue cap. It's almost periwinkle in person. Alright. Okay. Let's give this one a little air out. Oh, and I forgot to write the name down. Let me do that while it dries. Ooh, immediately I'm getting very like watery. Hold on. Okay. So, let's see here. Okay. Much brighter and lighter. Like the initial hits are very like aquatic, and then the second wave is very floral. And then as it settles, I'm getting a lot more woodiness from it. It's kind of like what I would think of as like a spa day scent. Like if I was going in for a massage in a beautiful spa out in nature, like this is what I would want it to smell like. Again, this one's pretty cedary, like it's giving quite a woody base. But I would say on the whole, like brighter, fresher kind of scent profile than the last one. But quite woody. Quite woody. Okay. Yeah, settling into more and more woodiness. Let me see if I can find this one. Interesting. So this one is described as intimate and secretive. Again, so powerful, it is not what I would describe as intimate. I feel like it's a pretty bold scent, but to each their own. The top notes are supposed to be bergamot and black pepper, mid notes of rosewood and ginger, and base notes of resin. So I think the rosewood is really carrying this scent for me, which I like. I do like a rosewood. It's not my favorite of the wood scents, but it is a pretty good one. I'm sad I'm not getting as much spice as I wish I was. I typically really like perfumes with ginger and pepper in them. I like a spicy note, which is not quite hitting. This one is dominantly, to me, rosewood and resin. I also really like bergamot, and I'm not getting a ton of that either. This one might wear better on the skin, but similarly to the last one, the on-paper finish is predominantly woody, which is fine, but they might have to be worn on the skin to get a little more nuance out of these. Time will tell, but first impressions both fine, pretty woody. Alright, next. Okay, ooh, I like this little mint green cap. Okay, we have Mahana. Let me write that down. Okay, let's get this one spritzed. There we go. Ooh, immediately this is much more up my alley. Very strong hits of like bright, warm, well-rounded fruitiness, and I am, as established, usually a gourmand girly. I want things sweet and fruity, and I want to smell edible. Alright, let's go in for a sniff. Oh, I like this a lot. Okay, so definitely citrusy, but not like a sharp citrus. This is like a mellow, sweet, almost like, it's still bright, but almost like boiled down, like it's like a sticky citrus sweetness. Like one that like, it feels like thick and rich in a way that I find very pleasant. And it's based in something a little kind of tingly. There's like a freshness underlying it that I like. It's almost a little bit aquatic, a little bit woody. It's got that kind of like tingle of sandalwood, but it's cleaner. I would say the whole effect is cleaner. It settles in, like the first hits are of the fruit top notes, but then settles into something with some greenness I'm starting to pick up. Quite pleasant on the whole. I think still, it's not a pure gourmand. It settles into something definitely with a little bit more nuance, a little bit more green, a little bit more clean than something that's just bright and fruity, but in a way that I find quite pleasant, and it still holds that fruity sweetness. So let's go in and find the notes for this one. This one, Mahana, described as vibrant and optimistic. The top notes are pomelo, which I love, was very excited about, pomelo and white musk. And now I'm not usually a musk girly, but this is a musk that I'm not finding oppressive. I think would wear very nicely on the skin. Mid notes of coriander and birch leaf. I think that's where I was getting some of that kind of herbal greenness, and I find that very pleasant. Like, it's not grassy, but it feels green and fresh, and then base notes of cedar. And it is not an overpowering cedar, which I'm very happy about, because the last two were so woody that I was worried that was going to be a theme. And I like a wood scent, but I don't want that to be the in-your-face overall kind of thing. And this is very nicely balanced. In my opinion, it comes together into something sweet and clean and fresh, and it feels kind of zesty, but in a way that feels delicate. I quite like this one, Mahana. Okay, let's go. I have two more in this bag. Okay, this one got a little beige kind of lid. This one's called Mattia, or Maltia, I'm not sure. Let me get another slip of paper here. Alright, let's get a spritz going for this one. Nice. Okay, let's get... Ooh. Oh, this one's interesting so far. This is also a bit more masculine. The, like, waft notes I'm getting around, definitely more masculine, but, like, in a soft, warm way, not in, like, an aggressive, like, woody, musky way. In, like, this is giving, so far, like, I'm imagining, like, hugging a, like, large man in a big, cozy sweater. Like, this is what I would want him to smell like. like very cozy, enveloping, like comforting, but masculine kind of scent. Okay. Okay. Going in closer, like those, it has almost a bit of sweetness in the initial hit. Going in for a sniff, we get more typical cologne notes. It's got some aquatics in there. Like it's giving, back in the day, my dad used to wear, I believe it was Acqua di Gio. And that one has this aquatic kind of seaside smell that this captures a little bit. So it has something much more fresh and marine after the first hit, but still has that kind of like sparkling, tingly effervescence to it in a way that I find quite nice. I think it's a little bit of a nostalgic smell for me personally. Again, probably not one I would wear, but is like a pretty classic, nostalgic, aquatic masculine scent. That was just my own noises. I think that was maybe a bit of rain. I'm not sure what that was. Alright, let me see the notes for this one. Oh, right in front of me. Okay. I'm trying very carefully to not make eye contact with the other scent notes and just find them one at a time. So Mattia, timeless and intriguing. Hey, I think they hit the timeless well. Ooh, okay. There's a lot more in the description that I'm getting from the perfume, but it's making sense. The top notes are listed as cardamom and ginger blossom, and I think that ginger blossom and that cardamom is giving some of that effervescence and spice. The mid notes, carrot seeds, saffron, geranium, and violet. So there is a little bit of floralness in there. And carrot seed, I have had a couple of other perfumes with carrot seed in there as a note. It almost, I feel like, gives the effect of something kind of like a licorice or an anise, with just like a little hint of like a nuanced spice to it. And then the base notes of patchouli, leather, and black amber. So I think the leather and the black amber are really delivering that like rich masculine kind of base note that I was reading strongly. I am pleasantly surprised by the balance with the patchouli, because I'm very easily overwhelmed by patchouli, tend not to like patchouli scents because I find it to be so aggressive. I did not pick up patchouli from this one. I think like it delivers as just a little bit of well-rounded greenness without being like an in-your-face patchouli scent. Yeah, this is like, I think, a nice, timeless kind of masculine scent that I find quite pleasant. I like that one. Again, probably not for me, but I like it. Okay, we get another strip of paper. Let's go for the last one in this envelope. Okay, a nice teal kind of blue lid. This one is Perpetua. This one I think I remember being excited for. We'll have to see. Okay, jot it down. Let's get a spritz. That one was primed and ready to go. Oh. Immediately sweeter, but not super feminine yet. Let's let her air out for a second and then go in for a sniff. Oh, okay, this is a much more like sticky sweet kind of fragrance. There's something like, this is like really evoking a memory that I can't quite place. Like there's some, I think, this sounds like, I don't want to cheapen it by saying this, but I feel like there's almost like just a hint of some kind of smell that is like a scented product from when I was a kid. Like, it feels like a classed up version of like a scratch and sniff sticker, or like, you know how sometimes dolls and toys used to come scented, like there's this bubbly, sweet, fruitiness to it. It feels like almost jammy. This feels like a classed up version of that to me. It's quite sweet and jammy and fruity, but in a way that does feel grown up. It feels like, you know, instead of like, you know, a Bath and Body Works strawberry, it's giving like a strawberry jam. It's not super strong, actually. Like, I'm really having to, like, huff this one. Yeah, predominantly fruity. I'm not getting a ton of other stuff. There's a little bit of, like, woodiness and richness in the base, but predominantly like a jammy fruit. Okay, let's go in for this one. Fascinating. Okay, none of the notes are any of the things I'm smelling. The notes are good, the smell is good. The two do not smell like each other to me. So this one is described as complex elegance, which I think is not what I was getting. Top notes of neroli and lemon, mid notes of amber and jasmine, and base notes of coumarin and cedarwood. This one, honestly, I think I'm going to give it another spritz on here, because like I feel like I'm losing it a little bit. There we go. I did accidentally very much spray it on my desk. Let me wipe that up a little bit, because now my desk is very much going to smell like Perpetua. But I did get some on here. Oh, I'm still getting the alcohol in it. I have to let it go off a little bit. Okay, I am getting more lemon in the initial spritz, like when you first go in for a sniff. I am getting the lemoniness. I think that's like the fruity element. The florals I find get like a little muddled, not in a way that's bad, but just kind of diffuses into like a sweet middle layer. And the cedarwood is carrying it. I'm interested by the amber and the coumarin. I think they're what's pulling this together into more of a cohesive fragrance so that it's hard to pick out individual notes for me. Like it's really melding this into one kind of singular, unique scent rather than a lot of distinguishable notes. On the whole, I think I like this. This one I think I will have to wear on the skin to see how this carries. My initial feedback is positive. It does have that sweetness and fruitiness that I like. I'm also really interested to see how this is going to wear on the skin versus on paper, because I'm finding that it dissipates pretty quickly on paper, which makes me worried about the skin longevity. But I'm hoping that some of that fruitiness comes into play and lasts longer on the skin. On the whole, very pleasant though. I will say I was hoping for a little more, as discussed. Like, I love fruity fragrances and especially citrus fragrances. I was really hoping for a lot from a lemon perfume. Like, I have been on the hunt for a true, like, pure lemon scent. Tried a couple, haven't been married to any of them. This one is okay. It's not delivering on the lemon, but it is delivering on a nice, sweet kind of fruity fragrance, if that makes sense. Alright, let me get these back in their little baggie. Lovely. Okay, one of 3 baggies down. Put that aside. Go to our next one. I'm gonna have to be careful to not turn it towards you because it has my secret code to get a discount on a full-sized scent on it. But this is another set of 5 with some new colors. I am immediately attracted to these bright sunny yellow. I love a bright zesty color. And this one is called The Window. Okay, let me jot that down. Also, if you're a pen person, I'm currently writing with a Pilot G2. I think it's like the mini version. I like little pens because I have little hands. But it's a nice, smooth roller ball. Okay, let's get a spritz. My desk is going to be so fragrant after this. It's always hard, especially on the first spritzes, to know exactly where it's going to spray, and I always end up scenting my desk inadvertently. Oh, okay, very fresh and zesty so far. Whoa, okay. It's very effervescent. It's very woody. It's also kind of giving laundry detergent, not necessarily in a bad way, in the way of like, combined with the name The Window, I'm imagining like you just freshly laundered your clothes, hang them outside on a sunny day, you have the windows open and the breeze is blowing into the house with the smell of fresh air and just a hint of fresh laundry. I'm getting more botanicals from it as it wears down. Like a little more, it's not like a sweet floral, but like an organic kind of herbaceous floral to it. It's a very, very clean scent. Clean, effervescent, and fresh, I would say. And let me find out more about this one. Okay. Hushed Transcendence is their description. The top notes are pink pepper, lavender, and desert air. We're definitely getting that like clean air element. I'm not getting a ton of the spice from pink pepper, but there is a little bit of that I think it's adding that effervescent quality. Mid notes, gravel ghost. No idea what that means. Desert florals and ylang ylang. Base notes of desert ironwood, saffron, and leathered woods. Okay. So a lot of complex descriptors going into a scent that I did deem laundry detergent. I think the desert florals and ylang ylang are kind of capturing that like herbaceous floral kind of vibe that I was talking about. Now, lavender is a variety of lavender, essentially. It's a hybridized lavender. It's not dominantly lavender, but I am seeing how it gets that kind of like woody floral in there. It's interesting. It's interesting. I would say not a typical me kind of scent. So I probably will not get a lot of wear out of this, but it is interesting. It's like interesting and complex, but not like in a way that invites you to ask more. It doesn't challenge, it invites. Like I would like to smell somebody else wearing this. I also think this one is quite unisex. I think it could easily lean either more masculine or feminine depending on, you know, your personal style. And I do appreciate a kind of nice androgynous balanced scent. And I feel like this one captures that really well. Okay, next, let's go in. Ooh, got a bright, like tomato red one. This is Sterling. Got 2 slips of paper by accident. Okay. Let's go in for a spritz of this one. Okay, this one was a little bit dribbly. Less of a spritz, more of a dribble, but at least I could, you know, keep it on the paper this time. Very interesting so far. In the air, it's like, I think I just want to say tomato because I just saw the tomato cap, but like a almost broad, flat sweetness. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but it makes sense in my head. Okay. Fascinating. I'm really trying to figure out like how to describe this scent. It feels like very like, I don't know why I want to describe a scent as flat and wide, but I do. Is this synesthesia happening? Like I'm like, it's like if you pancaked a smell. It's got a hint of smokiness to it. Like I'm getting more smoke coming through as it wears down. It's still sweet, but not in like a fruity or a floral way. It's the way of like the sweetness of like a resinous wood and smoke. But it's not like a deep smoky, like it almost has a hint of acrid, but not in a bad way. Just enough to make it complex, but so it's not like ultra masculine. It's not like super like sweet floral feminine. It's another, like, I think pretty well-balanced degree of, like, gentle sweetness with, like, rich smoke in the base. It's very intriguing. Like, it feels nostalgic. It feels like it's hitting on some memories. that I can't quite place. It feels outdoorsy, like I feel like the hint of smoke is making me feel like I am at a campfire. And then there's almost like, it's not quite like Play-Doh, but something that has that like doughy kind of organic, like I feel like it's that kind of sweetness of something that's like not a sugary sweet, but like a starchy sweet, if that makes sense. All right, let me stop spiraling and see how they describe this one. Okay, Sterling. They describe as warm and cozy. Not how I would have described this. Top notes of bergamot and white musk, mid notes of tobacco leaf and amber, and base notes of leather and vanilla. Bizarre. Okay, so the vanilla is very much, I think, what is bringing through the sweetness in this scent. But it does not come off like a baked good kind of sweetness. It has that. It is balanced enough that it's almost more like doughy and like pleasant and warm, but not like, you smell like a freshly baked cookie. And then I think it's that tobacco leaf and the leather that's bringing in the smoke, the richness to it. I'm not picking up a lot of bergamot, but it does have a little bit of that effervescence to it. It's just, I'm shocked that there's not more wood in it. I think it must be the tobacco that I'm getting. Like, I'm not super familiar with tobacco scents. I don't usually go in for those. So it's coming across very smoky and woody to me, but I think it's that, like, smoked kind of herbaceous quality that's coming through. I think it's very interesting. Again, not a scent for me, but one that I think is very interesting and could suit some people. You know, if you have that kind of like, if you want to smell like you've been out by a campfire in a kind of sexy way, like I think Sterling would do it for you. Okay. Next one. There we go. A nice bright green. It's called Ramble, which seems appropriate, I feel like, for a green. Okay, get that down. And definitely got that one on my hand. Let me wipe that off and let this air out. Ooh, okay. Immediately getting like some sweet and some pine, which I like a lot. I haven't gone in for a sniff, but it is quite reminding me immediately of, like, immediate thoughts reminds me of Imaginary Author's Cape Heartache, which is a very like pine foresty smell with like sweet strawberry in it. It is one of my favorite scents, actually. It's one that I go in for quite often. So we'll see if that reflection holds as I go in for another sniff, but that like pine and sweet immediately puts me in mind of Cape Heartache. Okay. Yeah, that I would say continues dominantly piney, but like less pine wood and more like fresh pine needles, like you just grabbed a handful of pine and crushed it in your hand and like inhaled. Very piney, but like sweet underneath. It's a smooth sweetness. Like it's not cheap. It's not like the strawberry, like that sticky strawberry of Cape Heartache. Ramble is like a more smooth, well-rounded sweetness, which I think, like, it's not that there's a worse or better. I think it, like, pops out a little less. It's less, like, of a scent surprise, but creates a very, like, well-rounded, like, encompassing scent that feels very cohesive. It comes together into something very clean, very fresh, but still like sweet and inviting, I would say. It does have like a hint of that like more masculine cologne-y vibe under some of that like pine and sweetness, not in a way that I think like it couldn't lean femme, but that like this is another very outdoorsy smell to me that like I think it'd be fun, you know, to wear with a ball gown, but it lends itself to like a fresh kind of outdoorsy vibe. Very pleasant though. just like a hint, I feel like, of like cleaning product underneath that. Again, not in an unpleasant way, but like just like the barest whisper of a pine sol. Alright, let me see. Okay, Ramble, they say, is understated sophistication. Top notes of pomelo, black pepper, and bamboo leaf. So I think pomelo is that sweetness, that fruitiness that I was getting, which makes sense. It is a richer citrus, a smoother, richer citrus. So it's less like effervescent and sparkly, but more sweet and like gentle and enveloping. Mid notes of balsam fir, lavender, and elemi. Interesting. So the fir, I would say, is the dominant note that I get throughout this, where it really, like, the fir carries a lot in a way that is pleasant and I enjoy. I find it interesting how they're using lavender and lavendin to kind of add some sweetness to these scents while keeping them very herbal. I think that's a smart mixing strategy. And then base notes of oak moss and patchouli. This is another one, absolutely to their credit, where the patchouli is detectable but not dominant, and I am so appreciative of that. Like, it is shocking for me to say I appreciate a patchouli smell. I am usually very anti-patchouli because I find it so assertive and aggressive. But this, I think, is nice. I think the patchouli does deliver more as it wears down, like as we're getting more into the base notes. I do get a little bit more patchouli than I would usually go for. And there is, again, that hint of kind of like men's cologne smell, which is maybe the oak moss. I'm not 100% sure what's delivering that in this one. On the whole, pleasant. I think this is one I would want to give a chance on my skin to see how it wears, because I really like the freshness of the pomelo, and if that carried through and had good wear on it, I think I would really enjoy that. Okay, got two more in this envelope. Let's see. This one is Thousand Palms, and it's this kind of honeydew green. There we go. This one's got a long title. Let me get that one. Almost missed the paper. Let me get her one more spritz. Ooh. Immediate sweet fruitiness. Again, like, I've got to stop talking about the colors because I was like, is that the smell of honeydew? Oh, okay. This is much more my speed. A very, like, fruity, indulgent, kind of rich and sticky sweetness. Very, like, bubbly, summery, kind of immediate first notes. All right. Yeah, okay. Very sweet, very vibrant, like very lively. It's got a lot of life to it, if that makes sense. It feels rich and joyful. So it's definitely got very, like, sweet, melony, fruity kind of top notes to me. It's got a good floral grounding. And there's like a little hint of something like rich and spicy underneath, not in like a cinnamon spice, but in like just a little bit of that like grounding wood kind of richness underneath. It is reminding me a little bit of like Bath and Body Works, like walking into a Lush kind of store. Not in a bad way, but just in a, like, nostalgic scent memory way of, like, you know, some of those, like, fruity kind of girly kind of bath product scents. Like, this is who Garnier Fructis wishes she could be, you know? Alright, let's read up on this one. Thousand Palms. Okay. This one is described as urgent and euphoric. I definitely got the joy in there. Top notes of bell pepper, petitgrain, and pink pepper. Interesting. Bell pepper, like, I am fascinated by as a note. And I do kind of get that. Bell pepper has that sweetness of a fruit, but with just like a little bit of like, kind of like a tang to it, a little bit of a green tang to it, and I think that delivers. Mid notes of tuberose, coriander leaf, and mango. Now this is very interesting because mango is my favorite scent in the world. All it takes is to see a perfume have a mango note and I've bought it. Like, I want to smell like a mango all the time. They are my favorite thing in the world. Mango and yuzu, like, I am anywhere those are listed. In a food, in a scent, in whatever, I'm there. This is, unfortunately for me, not delivering a mango scent. I'm glad I didn't read that it was supposed to be mango first, because I'm definitely not getting mango, but I am getting that like tropical fruitiness of it. So I think it's like, it's a subtle part of the blend. It is not a scent you should go for if you want to smell like a mango, but it is a nice like sweet fruity like rounded scent. Base notes, again, patchouli and amber woods. So I think it's that amber that's coming through. That amber like woodiness was the base I was detecting. Again, another really nicely, gently balanced patchouli. Again, the patchouli does come through a little bit more as it wears down, but not offensive to me. I think this is a fun smell. This is another one I think I'll have to give a chance on the skin. It settles into a little more greenness, a little more of the woodiness, but still maintains this kind of bubbly sweetness to the top notes, which I think is quite nice. I guess it's the tuberose that's doing a lot of lifting, because I feel like I get a really strong floral hit from this, but there are not actually a lot of florals in it, which is interesting. Again, I wish there was a little more spice from the pink pepper. So far, I've not gotten a lot of spice from these, which is a bummer as a spice enjoyer, but I think they are nice. I think it adds some nuance and some texture to the scent. Now, next one here. This is the last one from this envelope. Kind of olivey green here. This one is Roark's Cove. So hey, we're hitting part of the brand name. Okay, let's get a little spritz going here. Nice. Okay. Let's let this one air out. Oh, okay. Quite sweet immediate first hits. Okay, kind of surprisingly juicy. Alright. Whew, okay, then gets like a lot of hits of like kind of spicy men's cologne kind of scent. Yeah, like very, very spiced. Very like effervescent, kind of like ambery, like that kind of genre of men's cologne. Yeah, it does have some brightness and some sweetness. This one is kind of settling into a generic men's cologne kind of territory for me, which is a little bit of a bummer. I'm somebody that personally tends to prefer like more bright and unique notes, like things where you can smell like, oh, here's a fruit, here's a something, instead like I can appreciate a well blended and amalgamated scent, but I feel like they often end up feeling generic to me, like, oh, that's a men's cologne, that's like a nice refined old lady perfume scent, and this one is going on a little bit of like, yep, that's a man's cologne. Yeah, it's just kind of like a musky men's cologne. It's not really doing a ton for me, unfortunately. Okay, Roark's Cove. Jesus Christ. Sorry. There is so much in this one in particular that I feel like is kind of lost in the melange. Sounds very nice. Is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just does not smell as unique as I feel like the scent notes would suggest. This one is described as balanced and serene. Top notes of bergamot, cloudberry, pink pepper, and pear leaves. Mid notes of oak chips, verbena, tonka bean, and lavender. And then base notes of cedarwood, tree moss, and amber woods. I am shocked that there is no musk in this. I was certain that there was some kind of like skin musks in here. I guess that's like the amber woods doing a lot of lifting in here. It does have a woodiness, but it feels more like a musky, like skin-based kind of woodiness than like a fresh tree. I think that there is some sweetness from the cloudberry kind of element. I'm not really getting a ton of florals from like the bergamot or the lavender or anything, but there is like a pleasant sweetness that is elevated above those woody base notes. On the whole, this one's kind of a miss for me. It's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just it's not as exciting as the notes would have you believe, in my personal opinion. I think it is a perfectly pleasant scent. It's just like, okay, sure, you're also here. Okay, let me get all of these little guys back in their envelope. And we are on to the last one. So we are in the final 5 of the set. We have another zesty little color selection here. The yellow has slid out first. Okay, so this is 226 Club, which I feel like foretells some kind of alcoholic kind of like cocktail vibes. But let me jot that down. Okay. Get a spritz of this one. Okay, powerful men's cologne, kind of musky, spicy, like, wish I had not done 2 sprays of this one. Yeah, that's like a potent men's cologne. Okay, I mean, about what I'd expect based on the name. I'm trying to let it, hope it airs out a little bit. No, okay, I don't like it. I'm so sorry, I don't like it. Very, like, musky men's cologne. Oh, God. Okay, it's a lot of musk. It's a lot of musk. There's a whole, like, very woody, very musky, like, okay, it's very overpowering. I'm going to just put that one very far away from me right now. As far away as my little arms can reach. And then we'll read about it. And I'm not going to smell it again. That one is aggressive. Okay. This one is described as joyful and energetic. I felt like I was being suffocated personally, but to each their own. Top notes of lemon, black pepper, and orange bitters. Like, I guess there's some citrus in there. Mid notes of geranium, tonic, and star anise. And base notes of vetiver, cedarwood, and cashmere woods. Where on earth was all that muskiness coming from? I was like suffocating on musk. It's so like aggressively in your face, like woody, musky man scent in like a way I did not find pleasant. Like, I think it's nice that they tried to balance it with some citrus. I love a little citrus brightness, as in theory. It is a scent that I would describe as oppressive to me personally. Much love to anyone who likes this. This will, I might like bury this in a hole. It's so much. Okay. Moving on to something hopefully more pleasant. Okay. We've got an orange lid this time. This one is Devil's Garden. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. Hello. This was another dribbler. But she made it on the paper, so that's fine. Immediately, as I was expecting, very green. Let's air it out. Ooh, okay. A lot of like licorice anise, kind of sparkling, like tingly, herbaceous. Yeah, very licoricey. Okay, I'm trying to let it settle because it's very licorice, which is not bad. It's just all I'm getting right now. Okay, I'm getting more woodiness from it as it develops. Yeah, settling into like that cedar, like rich kind of spicy wood. Yeah, I'm getting predominantly like licorice at first, and then woodiness in the base. I'm getting a little more sweetness coming through now. Like kind of a vegetal sweetness, which is pleasant. It is, I would say, accurate to like a gardeny scent. I am getting like, again, just like a slight undercurrent of like what I would think of as like men's cologne kind of scent. But not predominantly so. Alright, let me see here. This one is described as quiet and mysterious. Okay, top notes, incense, juniper berry, cardamom. I really like cardamom. I think that might be bringing in some of that woody spice that I was sensing, and I think it's the incense that I might be getting and placing as that like kind of manly element to it. Mid notes of styrax and molybdenum, and then base notes of vetiver and patchouli. It's really interesting that it comes across so woody for a scent with like very little actual wood elements in it. I will say I like this more than I would expect based on the scent notes. It is like a kind of funky green, gardeny kind of smell. I tend to like things that are herbaceous, not necessarily for myself. This is like I would love to smell this on another person's scent, but I do think it's interesting. And again, credits to them for balancing it in a way that the incense and patchouli is present but not overpowering. I can appreciate that. It's a cool one. I think that one's interesting. Alright. 3 more. Okay. Let's see what we get. Okay. Oops. This is like a pretty sky blue kind of color. This one is called Ghost Trees. I like the name. Very, very vibey. Okay. Ooh. I think I accidentally cut exactly the amount of papers I need for this, which is always a treat. It's like when you pull out the exact amount of cards you need to deal from the deck. Very fun. Okay. Let's get a spritz. That one packed a punch with the actual jet. Okay. Let's let it fan out. Oh, very like heady. There's like something like a little bit sweet, very tangy to it. And like it's a kind of assertive, but not in a bad way, like very bold. It feels very organic. It's got that same kind of breadth to it that I was talking about, with like a wide feeling scent. It is familiar. I'm like trying to put my finger on exactly what it's reminding me of. This one is really interesting. I'm finding it hard to describe, but like pleasant. It's kind of zesty and like a little bit tangy, but not necessarily in a fruity way. It's funky. It's fun and funky. I'm like, I don't know how to describe it, but it makes me curious. So now I am gonna see what they say is in here. This one they describe as vast and intense. Fascinating that this is the one they choose to refer to as intense based on my reaction to 226, but that's fine. Okay. Ghost trees. Top notes: juniper, pink peppercorn, and ocean ozonics. I think it's that ozone note. There's a lot of oceany stuff happening in this one that I think that's what I was struggling to kind of articulate. Mid notes: white cypress, thalassogaya florals, and salted sea. Base notes: ghostwood, elemi, and driftwood. So I think it's that kind of seaside combination. There is a prevailing like salty air kind of note to it. Like the kind of tang of ozone with the like salty base of ocean salt throughout the wood, like the driftwood and in the salted sea itself. But at the same time, it does get that brightness. There's like just a hint of floral, just a hint of like zesty juniper. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. It's like, it is a decidedly marine scent, but not in like a cute seaside way. It doesn't feel kitschy. This one, I would say, I think is the most interesting one I've smelled from them so far. Part of the reason I ordered from Fulton Roark, I get a ton of targeted advertising from them. And all of their stuff is like cool, witchy, like gothy women who are like, do you want to smell like a graveyard in the night? Do you want to smell like a beautiful lost woman crying on the cliffs? Like all of these very like gothic vibey kind of things. So far, a lot of the scents have been fine, not like that, like, I feel like goth and evocative. This is the first one that I found like makes me go like, ooh, this feels like there's a plot. This feels like there's a story. This feels like there's an unknown to decipher in there. It is not a scent in my typical wheelhouse, like, since it's very marine, but I think it is the most interesting, the most unique, and the most like compelling to me, and just in terms of like scent construction of something that feels different and makes me inquisitive. It is a scent that I'm like, I want to know who's wearing that. I want to know what it is. I want to know more about it. And it's just like pleasant to smell on the whole, I think. Very interesting. Okay, this is not necessarily my standout to wear, but my standout from a like unique perfume house perspective. Two more. Second to last one. This is one of the runs I ordered this for. So this could go well, this could go poorly. This is Calle Ocho. And this one, I won't spoil it for myself, but I remember a bit about this one. This is one of the ones I ordered for. I know this is one of their more popular scents as well. And I did look up reviews for this one when I was deciding whether or not to place the order. All over the board, very hit or miss, where some people like absolutely loved it, and some people were like, it's cheap, it's not nuanced. Other people do the same idea better. So, who's to say? Let's find out together. Ooh, okay. Immediately like wafting through the air. I'm getting like very sweet and creamy. Ooh, yeah, okay. This is a very desserty smell. Oh, how interesting. Because like it's very creamy. It has like a hint of that like lactonic, almost milkiness to it. But it is not like, it's not like a like generic vanilla milk like Bath and Body Works kind of like fragrance. It feels more complex. Interestingly, like there's a sweetness to it and a brightness and a juiciness, which is almost smelling like pear to me. I don't think that's actually in there, but the way the sweetness is delivering shows up with that kind of like juicy but like soothing fruitiness to me. Okay, I'm getting a little bit more like tanginess from it, like a little bit more spice and like funk from it as it settles. It's getting spicier. I'm getting more like cinnamon spice, a little just subtle hint of woodiness. But it still remains like sweet and bright and kind of cozy, but not like, it still is nuanced. It's not just like, sometimes I worry with like a cozy dessert smell that's just like, you know, just like freshly baked cookies or like warm milk kind of vibes. I think they can be pretty one note. This is not one note. Okay, their description. Calle Ocho, decadent and intoxicating. Top notes of cinnamon, rum, and bitter chocolate. Mid notes of night blooming jasmine, labdanum, and tobacco leaf. Base notes of tonka bean, sandalwood, and musk. Interesting. Like, I've seen this described as like a rice pudding kind of scent, with like the cinnamon, of that, like that kind of vibe. I think what's interesting is that some of that vibe that was almost fruity, I think, is coming from the combination of the rum and the chocolate with just a hint of florals, because the more I go back, the more I am getting that chocolate scent, and I think that's where the sweetness is coming from. And I love a chocolate scent in a perfume. One of my all-time favorite scents that I still hoard since it's been discontinued is Tokyo Milk's Bittersweet, which is like a strong dark cocoa scent. And this has just enough of a hint of this to feel like cozy and like nostalgic, but complex. This does not come off as like chocolate. This does not come off as dessert. This comes off as something more interesting. I feel like that like labdanum and tobacco leaf are adding some complexity to this that I find interesting. I am also pleased that it is not too musky. I have a contentious relationship with musk. I love the idea of musk. I historically hate the smell of musk. But this is not offensively musky. The sandalwood and the musk, I think, are tying it together in a way that adds just a nice gentle undercurrent of that, like, of marrying the spiciness into a skin scent in a way that I think is really nice. And the tonka bean is adding a little bit of like grounding sweetness to it. I will definitely try wearing this one probably today. I think this is, I mean, we'll see what the last one is like, but I think this is probably going to be like my scent for the night, to take this for a test drive. I like this. I like this a lot. It gives the vibe of like almost a sweet cozy gourmand, but with more complexity to it. It's a leveled up complexity that I really enjoy. I am happy I got this one. Okay, and final scent. Final scent, a nice eggplant purple. This one is called Lost Man. Not to put the cart before the horse, slightly worried, simply because it has the word man in the name. And I have historically not loved the more masculine scents, but let's see. Let's go in with an open mind, an open heart, and an open nose, I guess. Ooh. Okay, immediately very, very piney. We're going back to the forest, which my favorite way for masculine scents to go, usually, so strong start. Let's get in there. Hella pine. Very bright, effervescent, resinous pine is dominantly what I'm getting. Let's let it air out another second. Still smelling like a photorealistic pine tree. Still very piney. There's still the pine needle. I'm getting almost a bit more like sap, like a little bit of that like resin and that stickiness of pine sap. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit of like sweetness underneath all of that. And it's not quite as marine as the other ones, but almost like a hint of something bright and aquatic in there. It's very refreshing. It's a very like refreshing, natural kind of scent. Still quite piney. I'm getting a little bit more of like resin and aquatics. I do definitely think it veers masculine, but this is, I feel like this is like a nice midpoint between like the pure forest and the like acqua di gio aquatics. Like it kind of marries them in a way that feels very fresh and clean and pleasant. All right, let's see what they have to say about this one. Okay. Lost Man, dark and expansive. Top notes of grapefruit zest, elemi, and mandarin. Fascinating. As previously established, love citrus, not getting a ton of citrus, but I think this explains some of the freshness and sweetness. Mid notes of clary sage, geranium, and leather, and base notes of vetiver, Siberian pine, and cedarwood. So I think that cedar pine double hit is really doing a lot of legwork here. The geranium, I think as it wears down, I'm getting more of the sage and geranium, getting a little bit more herbaceousness. It is also interesting. Like, I definitely thought there was something aquatic, but I think it is just the herbal notes of like the vetiver, the sage, the geranium that's coming together into something that's so clean that it almost feels aquatic without actually specifically being aquatics. I quite like this one. Yeah, I think this is really nice. I think this is probably, recency bias, but I think this is probably one of my favorites of the masculine scents. I find it very fresh and pleasant. I just like that itsy bitsy hint of citrus, I think is quite nice. And like there's the geranium lends it just enough femininity to give it a little nuance in a way that makes it feel like not aggressively, powerfully masculine, which I appreciate. Like that, that's real nice. I would say I also think that this ends up being a little cleaner and fresher than Ramble, which was the other kind of woodsy masculine scent that I liked. The patchouli in that one made it a little bit more like funky woodsy. This is like fresh, clean, like ambient woodsy in a way I really like. Yeah, so I would say, having surveyed the scene, surveying the wreckage, I think my standouts from today, the ones that are really, at least the ones that are memorable, I really liked, for the more masculine scents, I liked Ramble and I liked Lost Man. I think those like woodsy scents are really, really nice. Really big fan of Calle Ocho. That one I enjoyed a lot. That cinnamon, bitter chocolate, kind of like almost a dessert, but more sexy, sophisticated, complex. I enjoyed. Ghost Trees absolutely hands down takes the most interesting fragrance. I will have to give that one a test on the skin. It is definitely not a normal, a typical kind of me scent, but I did very much enjoy. And then, was it Thousand Palms? Thousand Palms I will have to give another, give a skin wear, because I was very interested in the mango, the bell pepper of it. Like the tuberose, I think it comes out and it turns into something very interesting. I'm going back through, looking at my slips. Perpetua was nice. It was, I think Perpetua ended up being like fine. Yeah, that one I would give a wear as well to see if the lemon comes through more. But yeah, I think that on the whole, oh, and Mahana I thought was okay. Yeah, the Mahana I thought was interesting with the pomelo, but married into more of a skin scent. I'm digging through papers right now. Yeah, okay. I think that is a fair takeaway. On the whole, I would say my takeaways from this, I feel like as a house, I think that Fulton Roark has some really interesting strengths. I really appreciate how they incorporate lavenders, patchoulis, and some notes that I think can be more sort of like the incense as well, into these perfumes in a way that I think is surprisingly gentle. Like, it's a very tactful usage of some very potent scents. I think a lot of them veer what I would consider more masculine, more musky, more like, not necessarily musky, but like kind of spicy, woodsy in that masculine to unisex direction, which is great if that's your vibe. I think I tend to go, I like that sometimes, but more often tend to wear very sweet, fruity, kind of very feminine scents. And of course, these are all like subjective descriptors. Their scent has no gender, and that's all, all very subjective, but to me, I tend to go for a little more like girly pops kind of vibes. But I think they play with some interesting notes. I think they have some standout scents where that is shown off really well. Some turn out into nice kind of generic melanges to me, but I think there are some that are really fun. If you decide to give them a try, or if you have any favorites from Fulton Roark, I would love to know whether that's one I tried or one I didn't and I should try. I would love to hear about it. Also, as always, let me know if you like this kind of video. I love getting perfumes and getting little sample sets and yapping about it. This is one of my favorite things to do, to really sit down and dissect perfumes. So if you enjoy this, please let me know, because I like doing it with you guys. It makes me feel like I have, people a captive audience to listen to me yap about the perfumes. So do let me know if you would like to see more content like this. I hope you enjoyed, but for now, I hope you are cozy. I hope you are comfortable, whether that's ready to sleep or just ready to relax. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and I hope you have a lovely day or night, and you are soothed and hopefully feeling like you're smelling nice things. Goodbye, Matt.